Richard, thank you very much for those kind words and kind introduction. And I'll just say this, Richard, it wasn't that long ago that we were over at Franklin County High School together. No, I've known Richard for a long time, and I want to say thank you for all your work in this community and other communities. And I want to thank you and Marietta for all that you're doing for the Patriots here in Franklin County and in our part of Virginia. It's going to take a grassroots effort all over this nation for things to change, and you've got the makings of that right here in Franklin County. Thank you. I also want to say thanks to Jim Wall, Charles Poindexter, and all the other speakers that have been here this evening for talking right from the heart. 233 years ago today, they were getting ready to sign the Declaration of Independence, and the Patriots in Philadelphia were going to lead the way for 300 more years. Others have expressed concern about, is it too loud? Diane, too loud? All right. Others have expressed concern about the spending going on in our country today. Let me just give you a thumbnail sketch about our spending and debt. George Bush was criticized roundly by the Democrats, and the Blue Dogs would go down to the floor of the House and say how much debt we had. And let me say, I didn't vote for Bush's budgets because there were too much debt in them. But the Democrats ripped him to shreds because the deficit at its peak was $400 billion. This year, under Obama, it's going to be $1.8 trillion, 4.5 times greater than it was under Bush, and I don't hear any of the Democrats going down on the floor of the House or the floor of the United States Senate saying, "Whoa, Mr. Obama, you've done enough." But that's what they need to be saying, and they need to be listening to you. Spending marches on. Let me tell you what Congress is doing for itself. They're taking more CODELs than ever before. That's congressional delegation trips to all these foreign countries that you pay for. And let me tell you what, those that ran against me criticized me because I didn't go on CODELs. They said I needed to go to Brussels to get educated. I needed to go to Paris, France to get educated. I say you need to be in your district and you need to be in the United States of America and not spending so much money overseas. They jacked up the expense money last year by $90,000 for each member of Congress. $90,000 per each member of Congress, varies slightly from district to district, but that was the average. So they could send you more mailings telling you about how great they are. And they recently passed the legislative branch appropriations bill, and they increased the spending. That's the one that spends on committees up there. That's the one that spends on staff salaries. That's the one that spends on postage. That's the one that spends on paper and everything else. They increased it by around $50 million. More money. And they're asking you to cut back. Tighten your belt and trim it up. Tighten up. I think the message needs to be to them, tighten up, cut spending, don't increase it. Our national debt now is on the way to $10 trillion. A prior speaker mentioned under Bush it went from 4 to 6. It's at 10 trillion and going further and further. We are putting this nation in a hole so deep that mercy will never reach us and hope will be a stranger. We can't have that. We need to pass the balanced budget amendment for the United States of America and cut down on the spending. Cap and trade, which Delegate Poindexter mentioned. That is the new NAFTA. We saw what NAFTA and many of these trade agreements have meant for jobs in the United States of America. China, Brazil, India, the third world countries, Asia, Africa, South America, they're not under these restrictions on coal. They're not under these restrictions on kerosene. They're not under these restrictions on diesel. They are putting it on us, and the rest of them are laughing because the jobs are going to go overseas. It's time to stand up for the United States of America first and look after us instead of foreign countries. The next thing Obama has on his agenda is amnesty for illegals, and that means we're going to give you a reward. You broke the law to get into the United States of America. Now we're going to really make it good for you. You get to stay. You get to be a glide path to citizenship. You get in the Social Security program, and we've paid for it all. I think it's time to say we need for you to obey the law. And if you don't obey the law, we're going to put you in jail. Obama is the champion of open borders and world globalization. I noticed that when he was in the Middle East, he went like this and seemed to kiss the ring of the president of Saudi Arabia. I don't want somebody that's going to bow down to the king of Saudi Arabia. I want someone that's going to stand up for the United States of America and say, I'm proud of our heritage. Our country is inundated with CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN, and the liberal media networks that believe in political correctness. They say it's politically correct to call the killing of an unborn baby a choice. They say it's politically correct to outlaw private gun sales between me and Richard, or between you and your neighbor. They say it's politically correct to expand the definition of marriage so that we're going to include marriages between Joe and Sam and Sue and Faye. And who knows, how far that definition is going to go. But that's politically correct. We don't want to say anything against that. We've got to be PC. And Richard, I got to tell you how un-PC you were when you said at the close of your prayer, in the name of Jesus. I can tell you there's some groups in Washington, they'd like to have your head for saying that. And it is politically correct now to say that the Koran and the Bible are on equal footing as our president trots around the globe by making one more apology after another apology because the United States of America was founded on Christian principles. To those who believe in political correctness, I want to borrow a phrase from 1896, and my message is clear. Do not crucify the United States of America upon the cross of political correctness. Let's stand up for right, not what is wrong.